dreams end and hope begins. Hope, of course, is really a dream put into a conscious form. And the hopes of horsemen center around this first Saturday in May and the Kentucky Derby.
Come Derby Day, 4 years have gone into the preparation of that horse. Hopefully you can catch that lightning in a bottle.
It's a great feeling to wake up Derby morning. Your training is all behind you. To me, it's the greatest race in the world. It just leads you up to a feeling that gets to you deeper and deeper.
I usually pray before I go to the track. You know, I ask God to keep me safe. I say, God, I never asked you to help me win any race before, but if you can give me today a little push, I really appreciate it.
Lafitte Pincay got that little push in 1984, but today the crystal ball is clouded, the result veiled in mist. Bill Shoemaker comes with a dream of 2 Derby wins in a row at age 55. It would be his 5th today to tie Arcaro and Hardtack for most Derby wins. Year after year, Pat Day has been the leading rider here at Churchill Downs. Why, once he rode 7 winners on an 8-race card, but he's never won the Derby. Wayne Lucas's Derby dream has become an obsession, but he hasn't won it yet, and his 2-year-old champion Capote is the race's big question mark today. Some of these horses cost millions, but Masterful Advocate was bought for $5,500 by a trainer passing the time when he missed his plane. Demons Be Gone charges out of Arkansas like a legend in the making. Is he for real, or at the end of the day, will the demon be gone? Again today, the dream will come true, but for only one trainer, one jockey, one owner, one horse. Soon it'll be time for the call to the post and to sing one song for the old Kentucky home. Everybody's home for this one special day. Live from Churchill Downs in Louisville, Kentucky, ABC Sports presents the 113th running of the Kentucky Derby. The twin spires sit like a crown on the grandstand at Old Churchill Downs, reminding us that all this has been going on for a long time now, since Aristides won the first Derby in 1875. Each person here watches with his own eyes, feels with his own memories and emotions. It's Derby Day again. There's something new this year. The old crowded paddock has now become a beer garden, and nearby a new saddling enclosure and walking ring provide a proper, dignified setting for the ceremony. The quietest place in Louisville right now is the barn area on the backstretch. But in those barns are the hopes and dreams of many people focused on the 3-year-old horses who will run in the Derby today. Soon they'll be led around the track, anonymous naked animals, to re-emerge later through the tunnel in all their colorful silken glory, ready for the most important 2 minutes of their lives, their one and only chance to win the Derby. Good afternoon. I'm Jim McKay, welcoming you to Churchill Downs, where the temperature is 84 degrees and the crowd is 128,000, bigger than the Super Bowl, bigger than the World Series, one of America's great annual occasions. When I say this, it's a pleasure to welcome you to the Derby again on behalf of ABC Sports for the 13th consecutive year. You can believe I'm serious about it. Pleased and also privileged. You know, you and I get to come to the Derby together each year, every year. But for the horses, for the owners, for the trainers, this is a once-in-a-lifetime shot. One big chance to win the biggest race of all, and that's one of many things that makes this a very special day. It's also the beginning of the Triple Crown Series, which has taken on added significance this year, because for the first time, if one horse wins all 3, the Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont, he is guaranteed prize money of $5 million. But I'll also say this, I'll bet the owners in today's race would be willing to pay $5 million if they could just win this one, win the Derby. Up on top of the grandstand where the wind is gusting, my colleague Al Michaels. Looks like a wide-open race, Al.
It is. This is a wonderful race to handicap, Jim. It's like doing a giant master crossword puzzle. And it's not reaching to say you could make a very good case for 11 of the 17 horses to win this race. One interesting note, in the 70s, 6 favorites and 2 second choices won the Derby, but no favorite has won the Kentucky Derby in the 1980s. No favorite has won since 1979, and there is the favorite as we speak, Demons Be Gone. Not only the betting favorite, but sort of a household favorite. Phil Housewald, his trainer, grew up in New Albany, Indiana, across the river from Louisville. Right now, we're going to look at the odds. Now, these are the saddlecloth numbers. If you see your horse on the left, the colors that horse will wear, it has nothing to do with post position. We'll show you that in a moment. We have a 3-horse entry, Wayne Lucas with War, Capote, and On the Line at 6 to 1. Then the Leroy Jolly train entry of Gulch and Leo Castelli at 4-1. Crypto Clearance, who will break from the inside, is 6-1. And as we continue on now with the saddlecloth numbers, Ali Sheba is 8-1. Masterful Advocate comes in from California at 7-1. Demons Be Gone is the favorite. That figured 5-2. Candy's Gold, an outsider, along with Chocolate One. Bet Twice, who looked good until his most recent outing, is 11-1. Conquista Rose likes an off track. He doesn't get that today. It's fast, 45-1. No More Flowers at 40-1. And then the field, Templar Hill, Momentous, and AV's Copy. Bet one, get all three. Number 12 at 19-1. Now the post positions, here's the way they'll break. That's the rail at the top of your screen. Crypto Clearance is there. Then comes War. Ali Sheba comes out of the number 3 hole. Then Templar Hill. Capote likes to go to the front. Gulch runs from the rear. Gulch is 6th. Masterful Advocate figures to go to the front out of 7. Out of the 8th spot comes Leo Castelli. On the Line, who won the Derby trial, 9th. The favorite, Demons Be Gone, 10th. Momentous, Candy's Gold. Chocolate One is 13. Bet Twice, 14th. And then from the auxiliary gate come Conquista Rose, AV's Copy, and No More Flowers. We're about an hour from the post time for the 113th Derby. The animals don't know that, but the humans sure do. And down with them in the jockey's room covering his 16th Derby, Jack Whitaker.
Thank you very much, Al. This is the recreation room where they relax away from the madding crowd. The table tennis here. All jockeys are great table tennis players. You must know that. But over here is a young man who is on the favorite. Pat Day, I don't know of any jockey that ever came to Louisville with more conviction on his mount than you are with Demons Be Gone. Tell us about it.
Well, this colt, I'd worked him a couple of times early in the year and then was able to ride him in the Southwest Stake at Oaklawn, and he just put an amazing move on the field that day and just was very impressive. And then, as you know, he came back and won the Rebel and the Arkansas Derby in just about as convincing a manner. He's just been professional in every sense of the word. He handles the crowds well. He never gets excited or upset, and I think that's going to be a major factor here today with the crowd and the electricity that's in the air. And so it's just I'm coming in this race with a great amount of confidence in this colt.
I think you are. You've run almost every race today but one. You won the last one on a Wayne Lukas horse, as a matter of fact. What's the track like?
Well, it seems to be that it appears that speed's holding, but if you look at the past performances, all the horses that have won are legitimate speed horses. It's not like horses that are winning or just happen to bounce out to the lead and steal the race. The horses that are winning are the horses that are supposed to win. I think there's going to be a realistic pace in this race with the speed, and it should set up so a horse that could come just a little bit off of it.
All right, Pat, you're going to win a Derby one of these days. Maybe today's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Pat Day and Demons Be Gone, the Arkansas Travelers. Here's the trophy they're waiting for, a cup full of the gold of thoroughbred racing legend. The last favorite to win the Kentucky Derby was Spectacular Bid with Ronnie Franklin up in 1979.
The Star. Portable Maxim autofocused SLR system, only from the mind of Minolta. By Michelin. Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires. And by Chrysler. Chrysler believes a luxury car should be a great driving car. At Chrysler, they're driving to be the best. So it's a wide-open Derby, but every race must have a favorite, and there's one here. He's called Demons Be Gone. We're calling him the Arkansas Demon because that's where his greatest victories so far have been scored. His owner comes from there, too. And we asked John Ed Anthony what it would mean to him to win the Derby.
You know, I'll ask you a question. What's the hardest race in the world to win? And I would have to answer that. It's the Kentucky Derby.
John Ed Anthony is Arkansas, from his name to his pine forest roots. But to say that John Ed runs a sawmill is like saying that the Derby is just the 9th race at Churchill Downs. John Ed's sawmill turns out millions of feet of lumber from his thousands of acres of loblolly pine, from which he derived the name of his racing stable. He names many of his horses after locations on his property, like Temperance Hill, the spot where his ancestors first settled. Temperance Hill, the horse, wasn't nominated to the Derby, but later he won the Belmont as a long shot and went on to become the 3-year-old champion. Van Landingham suffered an injury in the Derby and finished 16th. Later, he won the Washington, D.C. International. And now comes Demons Be Gone. As a 2-year-old, he disappointed in the Breeders' Cup after impressive seconds at Belmont Futurity and the Champagne. As a 3-year-old, he's undefeated and blossoming like a blanket full of roses. He didn't look like much as a baby.
He's not the type of horse that you would have picked out as as a great prospect, but they come in all sizes and shapes, and he just is a little bit less spectacular in looks than some of the others.
The trainer of Demons Be Gone is a soft-spoken 28-year-old Kentuckian named Phil Housewall. He had been a trainer for less than a year when he got the Demon, but they've formed a great team to this point. This performance in the Arkansas Derby is typical of the form the Demon has shown so far this season. Note that jockey Pat Day has yet to touch him with the whip, but note also that his opposition in Arkansas didn't include a single stakes winner.
Good work.
The Demon and Day know the sweet taste of victory, and so does owner Anthony, but none of the three has won the Derby. Why is John Ed in racing?
It's an enormous undertaking. It's terribly expensive, but the mountain peaks are higher, the valleys are lower than anything else I've ever tried to do. And if you've got the willingness to suffer a lot, then it can be done. But probably it's not what every ordinary person ought to be thinking about doing with their life savings.
I mentioned earlier that the quietest place here right now is the barn area, but it's a tense quiet back there as Derby time draws near. Charles E. Canny is back there right now with the trainer of Demons Be Gone, young Phil Housewall. Charlesie?
Well, Jim, with the role of favoritism goes the scrutiny and the criticism, and Phil Housewall has been finding that out this week. And one of the topics has been the fact that Demons Be Gone wears 4 bandages, and people wonder why.
Charles, early in his career, he was a little bit immature, and I thought, the bandages would give him a little support in front. He's trained every day since I've had him, in 4 bandages and ran every one of his 9 starts in 4 bandages, and he's been pretty successful, so I sure believe it'd be a mistake to change anything right now.
Another topic has been the fact that he did not beat a single stakes winner in his 3 victories at Oaklawn Park.
Well, I don't know. The 2 horses came up out of Arkansas that they ran 2 3-year-old races here this spring. Fast Forward just won the Capitol Holdings stake a second ago, and there was a horse that Wayne Lukas is running in the Derby. He won the Derby trial last weekend, so I don't know, maybe the horse won this week in Arkansas, as everybody says they were.
We wish you a lot of luck this afternoon, Phil, with Demons Be Gone.
Thank you a lot, Charles.
Young Phil Housewall, he's locally raised, and so is his horse. Demons Be Gone was born and raised just up the road in Goshen, Kentucky at Longfield Farm, so Jim, that makes them a real sentimental home team favorite.
Okay, Charlesie. Charlesie Canny live with the trainer of the favorite. A racetrack can be a dangerous place, and one of the most dangerous places here is the refreshment stand. It's something called a mint julep. Lynn Swan investigated this explosive subject for us.
The only tradition older than the Derby itself is the mint julep. In 4 cellars just like this one, it begins with a souvenir glass. In trays of 24, they move along a very semi-automated system. The perfect 3-ounce pour, they add ice and a sprig of mint. Now today, over 80,000 mint juleps will be made. That means 8,000 quarts of bourbon, 150 bushels of mint, and 60 tons of snow ice. The big push to sell these will come just before the Derby itself, where most everyone will want to have a mint julep in hand to toast to the horses as they take to the track and the tune of My Old Kentucky Home. If you have a complete set of these glasses, they're worth about $1,000. But they're priceless in Kentucky Derby memories.
Louisville is a festival town 2 weeks before the Derby as human beings race in the air, on the ground, and on the water. Then the horses take over.
Once you look through a Minolta Maxim.
Here's several $1 million going through the window. Take a look at Derby wagering. 51 years ago, less than $500,000 bet on this race. All the way up to last year, $6 million bet at Churchill alone, and was simulcasting around the country. $26 million bet legally on the Derby. Payoffs vary. Ferdinand paid $37 here last year, and in the simulcast at Hollywood Park, he paid $16.80. Let's take a look at the odds right now. First of all, you have the Lukas entry at 6-1, highlighted by Capote, and then Gulch and Castelli, the Leroy Jolly entry at 9-2. There are really no surprises here. Everything pretty close to the morning line. Crypto Clearance is 6-1. Ali Sheba and Masterful Advocate have their backers. Demons Be Gone has gone from 5-2 to 2-1. Candy's Gold and Chocolate 1, 40 and 45-1. Bet twice at 10-1, and then entries 10 through 12 with very high odds. The field, the final 3 at 21-1. Right now, let's go to Charles C. Canty.
Well, thank you, Al. We're here at Leroy Jolly's barn where Gulch and Leo Castelli are about ready to proceed over to the races. And Leroy, Gulch was a very precocious 2-year-old last year who showed speed. You took a big chance and changed his running style.
Well, I think that's what he wanted to do all the time. It's just, I don't think we changed anything. I think we just accommodated what he wanted to do.
Taught him to come from off the pace to get the 1.25 miles today.
Well, he wanted to do it, and we were able to convince, we made a jockey change. We were able to convince the new jockey to take him back and let him come from behind, and it seems to have worked well. He's won 2 out of 3 that way, and of course we have a new jockey today in Bill Shoemaker, but that's a specialty of his too.
What about your lesser-known, lesser-seasoned colt, Leo Castelli?
Well, he's a very nice horse. I think a true distance horse. He ran a very good race in the Bluegrass the other day, in which he got bothered some. He was lucky enough he wasn't injured, and I think he's a true distance horse who will come running the last part of it. And he's big and he's tough, and I think he'll run good.
Are you partial to either one?
Not really. I think they both have an equal chance, which is unusual for an entry. But usually you have one weaker, one with speed, one comes from behind. These both have the same style of running, so it's a little unusual, but they both have a good chance.
Best of luck with both of them, Leroy. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Charles.
All right, the horses are ready to proceed now over to the grandstand where Al Michaels is.
All right, Charles, that entry is 9-2. Delighted to be joined now by Dave Johnson for the pre- and post-race analysis. So also call his 10th Kentucky Derby. And let's talk a moment about that Leroy Jolly entry, because I think a lot of people will bet on it, and they'll bet on it sentimentally because they'll bet on Bill Shoemaker and hope that he can do what he did last year with Ferdinand. And it's interesting that he gets this ride because of the illness last week to Temperate Sill.
But they're betting on experience. That's the buzzword around the Jolly Barn. And Gulch is a horse who won the Wood. And the other part of the entry, Leo Castelli, very interesting. Let's take a look at the stretch drive that earned Leo Castelli his way into this afternoon's Derby. That's the one that Leroy Jolly just spoke about. As we pick up the action through the stretch, Ali Sheba between horses is going to veer out, almost causing Leo Castelli to go down. For that, he was disqualified. Leo Castelli still ran a big race, and War on the rail gets the win by virtue of a disqualification. But Leo Castelli should have won that race, and many think he'll win this afternoon.
Now there's the 3-horse Lukas entry, and that is highlighted by Capote. Some people say that Lukas has not brought him in fresh, in the sense he's only raced him twice, and yet he has another horse in here, War, who has already been to the post 8 times this year.
And on the line, who wasn't expected to be part of the Derby field until he destroyed the Derby trial field last week by 6.5 lengths. Capote is the interesting one, though. A virus over the winter, and now coming back with 2 off tracks, a question mark.
All right, we've taken a look at the 2 entries, also Demons Be Gone, but there are other contenders. Here they are. Pulling your pick out of a hat might give you an edge on the experts in this wide-open Kentucky Derby. Many insiders like Crypto Clearance, a smallish colt who hasn't been worse than second in 5 starts this year. As a bonus, Crypto Clearance has the riding services of Jose Santos, a 26-year-old native of Chile, who led the nation's jockeys in earnings last year. In the Florida Derby, Crypto Clearance overcame a slow pace and a wide trip to nail the leaders in the final 16. In the past, Crypto Clearance has preferred to rally wide, and we asked trainer Scotty Schulhofer if the inside post is a detriment here.
Not at all. He's just more been on the outside because he's been hung up out there from the post position before in his other races, but he'll run on the inside just as well as Al.
There's plenty of support for Ali Sheba, a $500,000 yearling who has been in the money often but has won only 1 race in his career. Chris McCarron, Ali Sheba's rider, makes his 7th Derby appearance, still looking for his first win. Hall of Famer Jack Van Berg has won more races than any trainer in history and has faith in this horse.
I'm confident in him. I wouldn't trade with anybody. There isn't a horse in America that I'd trade with right now. I've said that for about a month, and, you know, I told you last fall what I thought of him, and I hope he holds up for me.
Now some mystery horses. Start with Masterful Advocate, a $5,500 purchase, who impressively won his first 3 starts this year. He was well beaten, however, in the Santa Anita Derby, but co-owner Dave Leviton believes that race was an aberration, and he's got an army of supporters to root the colt on. Bet Twice has won 6 of 10 career starts, and he looked like a possible Derby favorite when he coasted to victory in March in Gulfstream's Fountain of Youth Stakes. However, in the Florida Derby, Bet Twice was the 3-5 favorite. Had some trouble early, and when jockey Craig Perrett called on him in the stretch, he had little to offer. His backers feel things will be different today. If you're looking for a long shot and an unbelievable story, there's Momentous, a chestnut colt who is lucky to be alive. In the Hawthorne Juvenile last fall, Momentous was on his way to an easy win when he suddenly ducked in and jumped the rail. Alive and well now, he's in the field today.
he's matured immensely, like all our 3-year-olds do this time of the year, and hopefully he'll overcome these things. He's a very brave horse. I mean, he is a brave horse. There's no doubt about that. And it just mentally he has to put it all together. And we'll see what happens.
The horses have been called to the paddock for the Kentucky Derby. Wayne Lukas has been a controversial figure around here this week. Not the public relations darling of old. In a minute, he'll speak for himself.
99 cents is all you pay for the Baskin-Robbins Sunday. It's too tempting to resist. The Sunday deal as good as this Baskin-Robbins just for you. A Sunday lover's dream come true.
The Delta faucet. When it's on, it's on. And when it's off, it's off. The washerless design makes it last and last. Delta faucet. We're first because we last.
In today's world, a luxury car owes you more than just luxury. Today's Chrysler New Yorker gives you advanced front-wheel drive confidence. Performance.
Back at Churchill Downs on Derby Day, that's Gene Klein, who has been very successful in thoroughbred racing since he sold the San Diego Chargers. He owns last year's Horse of the Year, Lady Secret. In the Derby, he owns On the Line and is co-owner of Capote. The name of one of the 3-horse Lukas entry really sums up what Derby week has been for the trainer. It's war with the media as he tries to train his trio for the most important race of their lives. The 50-year-old ex-basketball coach, who's a workaholic from Wisconsin, is the most successful thoroughbred trainer in the business and the most controversial. We found out why.
What we try to do is maybe lead with example. What I say to them, I say, I know you say you're going to be dedicated and you're going to put in the hours and you want to get to the top. Well, I'm going to take you for your word. I'm going to test you. Now, you try to keep up with me. And if you just get as intense and involved as much as I am, the rest will all take care of itself. And look around you and see what I've got, material things. And take a good look. If you like that Mercedes over there, take a good look. I won't give it to you, but I'll show you how to get it. You know, it become fashionable in the last, I think, 10 years in all sports, to instead of to be a reporter, for a man to be a critic. I put my head on the chopping block all the time. And any time you go out on that limb, somebody's going to try to saw it off. And so they are waiting for the crack in the armor. They want me to be wrong when I make a prediction. And I always overload myself, too. And so I make those predictions, and boy, that guy's there, that sports writer's there with the saw, and he wants to cut that limb off. And love to. Once in a while we're right, and that's when we have our day. There's two people. Early on, Vince Lombardi. His dedication to excellence just kept ringing through to me all the time. Believe it or not, in modern day athletics, Bobby Knight is a fascinating person to me. Some of the ways we go about things, so Lombardi, Knight, Wayne Lukas, whoever, I think sometimes are questioned, but I think that the general theme of giving your very, very best every single day to get where you want to be comes ringing through in those people. If you have a word association game and you say jockey, they'll say Shoemaker. If you say horse race, they'll say Kentucky Derby. And so it's like Charlie put it last year. He did all these things, and he's had a marvelous career, and it still is in many years to come, I'm sure. And yet, he says, I never realized how important it was to win the Derby. Everybody said, did you ever win the Derby? And he said, yeah, I won it last year. You know, I want to be able to say that.
All right. Wayne Lukas wants to say he won a Derby. Are you going to do it on Capote, Angel Cordero?
I hope so. I win the Preakness for him, so I'm looking forward to win the Derby for him.
How's the track for him today, do you think?
The track suit him perfect today. Every horse that made the lead today wins, so I hope he continue like that.
Well, we're delighted to have you back after the injury. You were on crutches last year at this time, weren't you, Angel?
I did, and I'm very grateful that I'm here again and competing again.
Well, have a good, safe trip. Thank you very much, Angel.
Thank you very much.
Another man back from an injury is Chris McCarron, who will be on Alashiba. Welcome back to the wars, too, Chris. How do you feel?
I feel great, Mr. Whitaker. Again, like Angel said, I'm very grateful to have recovered so quickly and everything, and I'm just thrilled to death to be here.
How about Alashiba, coming out of the bluegrass with all that excitement? What do you think of him?
I think he's got a big shot. Colt's got a lot of talent. He's still maybe just a little bit immature. He likes to play around a little bit while he's running, but I'm hoping with all the confusion and commotion today with 100,000 people here that he's going to forget about playing around and know what the game is all about and do his best.
Thank you, Chris. You have a good, safe, swift trip, too.
Thank you
very much. There we go. Two jockeys who always remind us that danger is always lurking for these small athletes riding 1,200-pound thoroughbreds. Now, once again, here's Jim McKay.
One of the toughest and bravest jobs in sport, being a jockey in the Kentucky Derby. Another one you'll meet in some detail in a minute. Bill Shoemaker. The 113th running of the Kentucky Derby, an ABC Sports exclusive, is being brought to you by Citizen. No other watch expresses time so beautifully. By Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. And by American Express. Membership has its privileges. Don't leave home without it.
Suspended for that ride in the Derby, but with the backing of owner Ralph Lowe, he and Gallant Man returned to win the Belmont, setting a record that stood until Secretariat broke. But the sweet memories remain.
All the derbies that you win are good races to remember, but I think the last one I rode was the race that I'll always remember the most because it had been 21 years in between my Derby victories, and I never thought I'd ever have a chance to win another Derby after 1965, and lo and behold, here it happened. So that one's got to be the best one that I remember.
The dappled road of Shoemaker's career has had far more sunshine than shadows. And in a sport where everyone loses many more times than they win, that is remarkable. But then, Bill Shoemaker is remarkable. And that remarkable man, Mr. Shoemaker, is on Gulch, the number 2 horse coming out of post position 6 today, one of the Leroy Jolly entries, the winner of the Wood Memorial, the only prep race, as we look at him in Leroy, the only prep race for the Derby that carries the 126-pound Derby weight and goes around 2 turns. So, Willie Shoemaker, 5's are riding high for him today. At 55, he's seeking his 5th Kentucky Derby win to become the 5th jockey ever to win back-to-backs on his 25th appearance. 5-0 hello to you, Jim McKay.
Okay, Jack. Well, you know most of the facts now, and I think you're learning something about the heart that it takes to win the Kentucky Derby. But the emotion begins to build now, first with the playing of the national anthem. Rather a nice coincidence that the 113th Kentucky Derby national anthem will be played by the 113th United States Army Band from nearby Fort Knox, Kentucky. Our national anthem. And there they are in the brand new walking ring and saddling enclosure, the horses for the Derby. It's almost time.
Some particulars and some strategy now with 17 horses, each carrying 126 pounds, each going 1.25 miles. Long straightaway, as Bill Shoemaker, of course, knows all too well. How do you see this race being run, particularly at the outset, Dave?
Al, first of all, we all have the same information in front of us, the same data, the past performances. What we mix in is a little bit of ourselves, and that becomes the handicapping. Here's the way I look at it. There are two definite speedballs in here. Capote, the only way that he'll win is to go out there and never look back. And Masterful Advocate, who proved he was on top of his game with a quick workout on Thursday. Now, from the middle layer of horses, we have Demons Be Gone. He's drawn well. He has enough speed to get the tactical advantage. Crypto Clearance, unfortunately, who drew the rail, is going to have to drop back. The fun part of the race is going to be to watch the stretch drive for the first time. See what Cardero does. He's on Capote. See if he goes out there in a suicide pace against Masterful Advocate and Lafitte Pinkai Jr. So it'll be an interesting first quarter mile. Everything in the rest of the race might depend on that.
Here's the favorite at 2-1 now. People disparage him, say that he was in Arkansas, hasn't beaten anybody. How good is this horse in your estimation?
Well, he's very good, but he'll have to make a believer out of me. Good news and bad news. The bad news is that everything from Oaklawn has come up here from their big stakes races and been beaten. The good news is that Pat Day, who could have taken his pick of 8 horses in here, has decided to ride Demons Be Gone.
And Pat Day has already won 3 races today. Speaking of jockeys, Candy's Gold is ridden by Sandy Hawley, and that's some story.
He has had a tough year. 6 months after his 5,000th career victory, doctors told him he had a melanoma on his back. He battled the cancer, had 2 surgeries, 32 lymph glands removed. He deserves the blanket of roses himself.
I've heard some insiders, some people who know a lot about horse racing, whispering the name of Chocolate One, number 8, but he's 45-1. Why are they whispering this?
They shouldn't be whispering. They should be shouting this value. He was 2nd in the Gotham and 3rd in the Wood Memorial, closing strongly in both. Don't be surprised to see those bright blue blinkers flying through the stretch with young jockey Richard Migliori aboard.
Then there's war part of the Lukas entry. Racetrack Lore has him named after owner Tom Gentry's divorce suit.
Well, I don't know about that, but I know that he's a powerful part of the Lukas entry, and Herb McCauley, who is celebrating his 30th birthday this afternoon, would certainly like to be aboard at the finish.
Then there's Bet Twice, who looked so good until his last outing.
Yeah, that was a big question mark. He was odds-on in the Florida Derby. Trainer Jimmy Kroll told me he thought he'd gallop that day. Craig Perrette thought he would too, but he didn't fire. His ears were back. He just wasn't himself. The next day he was, though, and he's trained real nice for the day's race.
And a great story. Masterful Advocate. Joe Manzi, the trainer, bid $4,500 for him. Somebody bid $5,000. Manzi waved the auctioneer off. The auctioneer said $5,500. Manzi said, no, no, no. Then he went out and he looked at the horse and he said, I guess I'll pay $5,500. Sold half to Dave Leviton, and right now he has a good chance. I think he's one of the horses to beat today. Leo Castelli is another horse getting good backing as part of an entry.
Interesting story about the name. Peter Brandt, international art collector, is the owner, and he asked his friend Leo Castelli, a gallery owner in New York, if he could name one after him. The owner obliged, and here is Leo Castelli, the horse, running for Peter Brandt and Leroy Jolly.
Very shortly, they'll be coming onto the track for the Kentucky Derby.
The stars are gonna twinkle and shine. How they'll shine this evening about 8:45. I know I won't be late. Oh, that 8:30. I'm gonna hurry there. I'll be waiting where.
They say time is what you make it. At Citizen, we prefer making it beautiful.
About 8:45.
Citizen.
How long does a John Deere last?
How long does a John Deere last? How long does a John Deere last? How long does a John Deere last? How long does a John Deere last? Well, come on.
If you think all tartar control toothpastes were created equal,
Who is named after the 79-year-old art dealer who started, among others, the late Andy Warhol on his career, this horse might very well have won the Bluegrass had he not been bothered 9 days ago, Charlesie.
He had a very rough trip and frankly was lucky not to fall. He bobbled badly when he was bumped by Ali Sheba, but he recovered well, and Leroy said he has none the worse for the wear today.
And here we have Gulch, his stablemate, who's been acting up a bit down there. First, we had a report that he had a problem with his girth. Maybe was just getting him on, and he's full of himself.
He was, in fact, when he came down in front of these stands. And, of course, there's no way you can ever simulate what happens here on Churchill Downs Kentucky Derby Day. Gulch was on his toes and feeling a little bit of the excitement of the crowd, but these horses have no reason to understand why this day is any different than any other race day. They don't understand all this excitement.
Last October the 18th, after the Maryland Million, when he won the feature race, trainer Jack Van Berg said to me, "Jim, I'm going to win that $5 million bonus next year." I said, "With what?" He said, "With Ali Sheba," and he's still saying it.
I talked to him just a few moments ago in the stable area. He is very confident. He said this colt is at his best and will be there today.
Okay, that's Ali Sheba currently being held at odds of 6-1. Let's have a look here at Crypto Clearance, the impressive winner of the Florida Derby. Considerable support for him here.
Well, he's got the most popular post position, number 1. He's got a very popular rider in the very hot Jose Santos. Hasn't got the most popular physique. Even his own trainer says he's a little on the slight side, but he's big of heart. He gets down, he's gritty, and he tries hard. He fights to the bitter end, and he will be there close at the finish.
He's being held at 6-1 right now. And here is Conquistador. As it had originally been thought that unless it rained and was muddy and messy out there, that he wouldn't run, but trainer Woody Stevens changed his mind.
Well, you see, there's the key right around his head there, that set of blinkers. Woody put blinkers on him this week for the first time, and he snapped off a couple of fast works, and Woody said, "Why not? I'll go for it," and telling him. And the other horse was scratched today. He just decided to go right ahead.
I have to tell you, that Shortwood one at 45-1 is some overlay.
That
But
is.
their riders up now. They're headed for the track for the Kentucky Derby. You know, night before last, I asked Bill Shoemaker. I said, "Bill, be honest about it. When you got on the track for the Derby, are you even aware of the crowd? Do you even hear My Old Kentucky Home?" He said, "Jim, it doesn't matter how many times you ride in that race," and this is his 25th. He said every single time when they play that song, it tugs at your heartstrings. There is Sandy Hawley being put up on Candy's Gold. Sandy, back from a serious cancer operation. So many stories in every Kentucky Derby.
And this colt himself is an interesting story. This is only his 6th lifetime start. He's never won a stakes race, but Eddie Gregson came here once before, and he's batting 1,000%. He won this race with Gato del Sol, and he says he can't tell why, he can't put his finger on it, but he feels good about Candy's Gold's chance.
Trained by Eddie Gregson, who sent out Gato del Sol to win the Kentucky Derby. The call to the post by perhaps the best bugler in the business, a young woman named Karen Easterday. Under the twin spires, they're coming out for the Derby. Remember what Bill Shoemaker said, no matter who you are or how long you've been coming, it tugs at your heartstrings. We're going to show you the words this time for the first time so that you can sing along, whether you're by yourself or at a party, wherever you may be. It's everybody's song now. the post parade. Number 1 in the 3-horse entry of Wayne Lukas is War, the winner on a disqualification of the Bluegrass Stakes. Number 1A, the horse who must prove himself today, Capote, the 2-year-old champion who has looked very bad his last 2 outings in New York. Number 1X, the 3rd horse in this entry. On the line, he won the Derby trial last week and was suddenly put into the Derby. Number 2, the first half of the Leroy Jolly entry, is Gulch, winner of the Wood Memorial. At the peak of his game, and Bill Shoemaker is aboard. 2B, other half of the entry, Leo Castelli with Jacinto Vizquez, who twice before has won the Kentucky Derby for trainer Leroy Jolly. Number 3, the winner of the Florida Derby. This is Crypto Clearance. Phil Tynowitz, the owner, in the game for 25 years, and now he's got his shot. Jose Santos, perhaps the best rider in the country at the moment, is aboard him. Ali Sheba, number 4, with the confidence of trainer Jack Van Berg and the skill of jockey Chris McCarron, who's never won the Derby. Number 5, from the West Coast, didn't look too good in the Santa Anita Derby, but before that he tore him up. This is the $5,500 sensation, Masterful Advocate, with Lafitte Pinkai Jr. Number 6 is Demons Begone, the favorite in the race, out of Arkansas. Ridden by Pat Day, who's won everything at Churchill Downs and many times, but he's never won the Derby. Number 7, from California comes Candy's Gold, trained by Stanford graduate, somewhat intellectual Eddie Gregson, ridden by Sandy Hawley, the comeback kid. Number 8, an overlay at 45-1, if we've ever seen one, is Chocolate, one Edward Anchel's horse, ridden by Richard Migliori. Number 9 is Bet Twice, Bob Levy's horse, actually in the name of his mother, Blanche P. Levy, ridden by Jersey's Craig Perrette. Number 10 is Conquistadors. Remember, didn't expect to run today on the dry surface, but he is. Jerry Bailey aboard. Number 11, very impressive in Florida, second in the Florida Derby, looked bad last week in the Derby trial. No More Flowers, Walter Guerra. Then the field horses. Number 12, out of Maryland comes Templar Hill, son of Temperance Hill, owned by the Kowitz brothers. There's 4 of them altogether. Greg Hutton aboard. Number 13, Momentous, the unbelievable story of the horse who crashed into the 8th pole and now runs in the Derby with Don Brumfield, a Kentucky veteran. Number 14, rounding out the field, Avies Copy, who may well set the pace in this race, ridden by Mickey Solomon. That, then, is the field for the 113th running of the Kentucky Derby. With me again, Charles E. Candy. Charles E., it's about as close to the race as we can get. How do you see it?
Well, Jim, for the first time, I think we've got one of any 12 horses could win this race and not be considered an upset. I think the race is going to go to the rider who's able to make the most of the traffic situation, not lose ground, and keep his horse out of trouble.
Okay, you wouldn't give us a pick last week. Last chance.
All right, I think I'm going to have to go with the favorite, Demons Begone. He's had 3 easy races. There have been brilliant performances, taken nothing out of him. He's got the tactical speed to stay out of trouble. He's got the rider in Pat Day, the master of Churchill Downs, who wants this Kentucky Derby. This may be his day.
We'll be back.
Over the 17 horses, it's a big field. It really is a tough race to call because there'll be a lot of movement early, and I want to get through the whole field at least one time. I memorize the horses by a picture association. For instance, War. When I see War, I'm looking at 2 armies fighting each other. They're not wearing Confederate and Unions. They're wearing blue and yellow blocks. It sounds crazy to you, but it got me through my college exam and has paid my rent for 24 years. While they were singing, while you were singing at home, I did some markings on my program. It's an insurance policy, so I'll sneak a peek during the race to make sure that the horse I'm calling is the horse in front. Al?
A regular Picasso. You'll do a great job, I'm sure, Dave. Let's take a look now at the odds. No real surprises, and the odds are very similar to the way they were an hour ago, so there have been no patterns to speak of in terms of any changes in the odds, any real late money to speak of at Churchill Downs. The 3-horse Wayne Lukas entry, War, the 2-year-old champ Capote, and On the Line is 6-1. Then the Jolly entry, Gulch and Leo Castelli at 9-2. Crypto Clearance has been and still is 6-1. Then comes Ali Sheba, who's made a career of finishing 2nd and 3rd at 8-1. Masterful Advocate, good backing at 6-1. Demons Begone, when we came on the air, was 5-2, but is being held now at 2-1. Candy's Goal, 45-1. As Jim McKay put it, a great overlay. Chocolate won at 45-1. Bet Twice, not a bad bet at 10-1 if he runs back to prior form. Conquistadors at 50-1. No More Flowers at 50-1. And then the 3-horse field at 24-1. Now, your favorite horse, you want to know where he's breaking from. Here it is, another look now at post positions. That's the rail at the top of your screen. Crypto Clearance comes out of there, as did Ferdinand last year. War, number 2. 3rd is Ali Sheba. Hole number 4, Templar Hill. Look for Capote to get out quickly from 5, Gulch 6, and Masterful Advocate to come out quickly from 7. Out of hole number 8, Leo Castelli. Then on the line out of number 9. The favorite Demons Be Gone comes out of the 10 spot. Momentous 11, Candy's Gold 12, Chocolate 1 13, and Bet Twice 14. And from the auxiliary gate, Conquista Rose, AV's Copy, and No More Flowers. The field and the post positions, and now back down to Jim McKay.
Kind of an interesting sidelight, Al, that the pony rider for the favorite for Demons Be Gone had not planned to be here. Her name is Marianne Wilson. She was the pony rider out in Arkansas for his 3 great victories. But when Pat Day, the jockey, heard that she wasn't planning to come for various personal reasons, he said, Marianne, you got to be there. You're the good luck person, and you fit this horse, and you settle us down before the race. So Marianne Wilson is on the track at the Kentucky Derby, a story on every horse. No secret down here in Kentucky, for example, that Tom Gentry, the owner of War, has had tremendous problems the last year and a half, a difficult divorce, financial problems, and suddenly up pops with a horse that wins the Bluegrass on a disqualification and is in the Kentucky Derby. And Capote, we said, trying to prove himself. And Wayne Lukas, my goodness, he's made a crusade out of this, Charlesy, but he hasn't done it yet.
He's had 9 tries, 9 different horses in a number of different years, 3 entries here today. Certainly the Derby is the one thing he said, it's the one plum. He's had everything else in racing. He breaks his own records every year, but this is the one he wants.
Okay, it's almost time now for sure. So on this beautiful, hot, summery day at Churchill Downs in Louisville, Kentucky, let's go back up on top to Dave Johnson for the call of the race. Dave, have a good one.
What a beautiful day. What a great sight as 17 3-year-olds come to the starting gate for the Churchill Downs premier attraction, the Kentucky Derby. The starter is Tom Wagoner. He'll be sending them on their way in the run for the Roses for the 14th time.
On the inside. I want 2 or 3 people on the inside of it now.
When my friends come to the track, I always tell them 1 race go to the paddock, see that ceremony, and 1 race get as close as you can to the starting gate to watch and listen to the horses as they load. And let's do that right now for the Kentucky Derby.
Work on the inside of it. Move his front feet a little bit, Ron, and don't mess with him. All right, that's good. Leave him sit.
They're all 3-year-olds. They all carry 126 pounds.
Gary, you staying there? Gary, please you lead us.
That's Pin Kai. On the line, giving him a bit of trouble. There's the favorite, Demons Be Gone, with Pat Day, who's already won 3 races on the card.
Let him set there for it. It'll be all right there.
This is a long time for Crypto Clearance, the number 1 horse in post position order. He's standing there. But he is a now horse and a now rider. Jose Santos rides him. Bet Twice. 14 are in. Now to the auxiliary gate. From between horses. Now there goes Leo Castelli on the inside, though. Capote grabs the early lead past the stands for the first time. From between horses on the line, charging up to get command. Capote along the inside is second, and on the outside, that's Candy's Gold Racing third. In the middle of the track, No More Flowers up fourth. Bet Twice is fifth. Masterful Advocate from between horses sixth. There goes Leo Castelli bullying his way between horses seventh. Masterful Advocate, in fact, almost went out
War is in trouble on the inside around the first turn. Capote leads it by a length. Stablemate on the line into second position by 2. Candy's Gold on the outside, third by a head. Along the inside, that's Leo Castelli with Jacinto Vasquez in the irons in fourth position. War regaining on the inside now fifth. Bet Twice is sixth. Masterful Advocate is seventh. No More Flowers on the outside is racing eighth. Templar Hill moving through along the inside ninth. Chocolate One is 10th. No More Flowers back to 11th. After that, it's Ali Sheba, Momentous, Crypto Clearance. Between horses, Gulch is far back. On the outside, Conquista Rose is 16th. And the favorite, Demons Be Gone, is 17th and last. He's pulling up around the far turn. On the inside, it's on the line, but on the outside. There goes Bet Twice to the front, way ahead with Craig Perret aboard. On the inside, that's on the line with Gary Stevens hanging tough as they turn for home, a quarter of a mile to go. Bet Twice taking the lead by 1. On the outside, here comes Ali Sheba. On the line, dropping out of it. Middle of the racetrack, Crypto Clearance with Jose Santos is flying. Leo Castelli between horses. And down the stretch they come. Bet Twice on the inside, leads it by a head. On the outside, here comes Ali Sheba. Ali Sheba with Chris McCarron to the front. Bet Twice back to second. Here's the finish. Ali Sheba wins it by 3 parts of a length. On the inside, Bet Twice finishing second. Havy's Copy with Mickey Solomoni, part of the Mutual Field, finishing third. That's the unofficial finish. Jack Van Berg was right. Ali Sheba did get his confidence back. The mile and a quarter in 2 minutes, 3 and 2/5 seconds. There was a lot of trouble around the first turn, and the favorite, Demons Be Gone, pulled up.
Well, it won't be Pat, it'll be Chris. Yeah.
Oh, he broke down.
Who is that? There's Demons Be Gone. Demons Be Gone being put in the track ambulance, the favorite for the Kentucky Derby. That's a sad story. Let's see what happened, if we can. Demons Be Gone, the favorite in the Derby.
This is going down the backstretch here. Here's Demons Be Gone.
Number
He's
6.
Far back early on. And as he proceeds down the backside, he evidently will take some bad steps. There he is, starting to pull himself up there.
There have,
Easing
Charles,
back.
been those who said that those front leg bandages must mean that they know there's some weakness
It
there.
made him suspect. It did indeed, and here you see him shortening stride ever so much. It does not look to be too severe. He did walk into the ambulance of his own accord, and we hope certainly that it is not terribly serious.
Chris McCarron, can you hear me?
Thank you.
This is Jim McKay. Chris, congratulations. You couldn't be a more worthy winner.
Tell him about what you have. Yeah.
All right, well, I don't know. I got it squeezed a little bit going by the stands the first time, and I got a little further back than I wanted to be, but he ate up horses down the backside real well. And thanks, Junior.
Chris, you had an unbelievable ride through the stretch. You flipped heels, actually, with Bet Twice, did you not?
Flipping heels.
Let's move, Jeff. The horse in the lead, Bet Twice, stuck out right dead in front of me. And I flipped his heels, almost fell. This colt's a real competitor to get up on his feet again like that and go on and win the race.
A tremendously game effort by Ali Sheba. Congratulations, Chris McCarron.
Thank you, Charleston.
Okay. Chris McCarron, who turned the world on its heels as a young rider in Maryland, went to California, coming off an injury, a broken leg, not very long ago either. Some people wondered if he was up to the grueling pace of a Derby.
All right, now, Jim, watch this replay. Now, there's Bet Twice. He's got the lead. Now, watch Ali Sheba. He makes a move up here. This is already, I believe, after the incident that happened. He had a very rough trip earlier in the stretch, but as Chris said, he pulls himself back together again very gamely and passes Bet Twice to give Chris McCarron and Jack Van Berg, both Hall of Famers, both their very first Kentucky Derby win.
Okay, the order of finish is still unofficial, but it is, as you see it right there. Okay, Avy's Copy finishing a most surprising third. 2:03 and 2, not a particularly fast time for the Derby.
The winner, number 4, Ali Sheba, and what a trip. Last year we saw Ferdinand and the great job that Shoemaker did, and this year Chris McCarron puts his name right alongside the shoes, especially holding on down the stretch, flipping heels, and still able to right the horse and bring him from behind to overtake Bet Twice and win it. And we have him isolated coming out of the number 4 hole in blue and white.
Well, Al, this is the horse that we're going to watch the entire mile and a quarter. I might point out that this horse way over here on the left side of your screen, Masterful Advocate, did not have a good start. Really was off slowly and bumped around on the first turn and completely lost chance. Here is Chris McCarron in a beautiful ride with Ali Sheba, but watch the traffic problems right from the start.
And it was Capote who was able to get to the front early on, but he is squeezed in here, as he mentioned to Charlesy in the interview just following the race, but little did he know that this might be the least of his problems because there was a lot more to come.
Here comes on the line with Gary Stevens taking command, and you can see that McCarron finds a little room at the ring.
And he settles his horse in, and in a way it almost reminds you to a certain degree of Shoemaker with Ferdinand last year, settling back on the rail, saving ground.
And just in front and to the right is Pat Day and the yellow cap aboard the favorite, Demons Be Gone. Around that turn, this is where all the fireworks really happened, with up front and with War almost going down with Herb McCauley. And here, Ali Sheba gets rolling with McCarron.
He gets rolling down the back straightaway as Capote begins to fade. And, of course, at this point, just about at this point, Demons Be Gone pulled up. But Bet Twice got rolling as well, along with Ali Sheba, as they head into the far turn.
Ali Sheba has just passed Momentous and is now gaining on the rest of the pack. Here's Chocolate 1, and on the outside, number 11, No More Flowers. McCarron is a master, though, at getting to be the right place at the right time. Finding that little bit of hole there along the inside rail around the first turn helped.
And here he comes on the outside, and this is a horse that was developing a reputation as a bridesmaid. He kept finishing second. He kept finishing third. He'd won only 1 race in 10 career starts. But look at this move.
Did you see McCarron pull a set of goggles down? One must have gotten a little dusty, so he went to a new pair. He's now passing Leo Castelli. This is the horse that had breathing problems, so they had an operation in the throat which allowed more air to get in. Jack Van Berg thought that before that operation, it would have affected him mentally. Boy, he was sure clear-headed today, but look at that, almost going down in the stretch and still recovered.
Incredible. Looking at it with a naked eye, I was sure he was going to go off the horse at that point, and not only that, he's able to right him and then come from behind and win it. One of the great rides.
Craig Perrette, who's on the 9 horse, going to the stick. There goes Ali Sheba again in trouble.
And he's able to overtake him down the stretch and win it in a time of 2:03.2. And so Ali Sheba, who was ill last month, remember this was the horse that had to scratch from the Santa Anita Derby because he was ill, came back, ran in the Bluegrass, and was disqualified. He's had 2 rough trips in a row.
I'm sure a lot of you are thinking inquiry and disqualification, but let's remember that the horse who was bothered through the stretch eventually finished out front, and so, of course, there was no need for an inquiry or a disqualification.
And there it is, an isolated look at an unbelievable trip for Ali Sheba. And let's go now to Jack Whitaker, who's with Pat Day, who rode Demons Be Gone.
Pat, I know you're terribly disappointed. Can you tell us what happened?
Well, my horse bled is what happened, Jack. I don't know exactly when it occurred, but I know going into the first turn, my colt wasn't the same horse that he's been in Arkansas. We got bumped a little bit around the first turn, and when we headed up the backside, this colt had no run in him whatsoever. He was traveling fine, you know, physically. I could find no reason at that time why he should just be giving it up. At the half-mile pole, I was sure there was something desperately wrong, so I went ahead and eased him. At that point, I could see the blood coming out of both nostrils.
Well, it was wise then that you did pull him up. Do you think he's going to be all right, or you have no idea at this point, I guess?
Well, it's hard to guess. He bled pretty severely, but they can put him on Lasix and cure the problem, I'm sure, over a period of time. And I know he's in good hands with Mr. Oswald, and Mr. Anthony will let him do what's the right thing for the horse. So
he wasn't on Lasix here. Has he bled before?
No, sir. I'm sure if he'd ever given any indication at any point in his career that he was a bleeder, that he had any tendency to bleed, he'd have been on Lasix today. But he's just been a clean individual, never had any problems like that.
Thank you very much, Pat.
Thank you, Jack. I'd just like to wish my congratulations to Mr. Van Berg and Chris McCarron. Congratulations, gentlemen.
Some ride, wasn't it?
It really was. Overcame a lot. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Pat. Now back to Jim.
On saying congratulations to you and congratulations to you. Hey, Jack.
Minolta presents.
Everybody owns their own name. All right, we're back again. Let's take a look again at the official results. The winner of the Kentucky Derby is Ali Sheba, paying $18.80, $8.0620. Second, number 9, Bet Twice, paying $10.0720. And third, the remarkable Avies Copy, and you saw the price on him. There it is, Avies Copy, paying $6.80. The time, 2:03 2/5, is fairly slow for the Kentucky Derby. We're standing now with Tom Meeker, the president of Churchill Downs, who in the last couple of years has done an amazing job of refurbishing this track and moving it into the future. Tom, congratulations on a great Derby.
Well, we had another great one. The sun was shining, even on Texas, apparently, today.
Yeah.
Gives me great pleasure to introduce our governor, Governor Martha Lane Collins.
Hello, Jim. It is a great day, and I know these winners are all excited and happy, but we're very proud of this 113th running of the Kentucky Derby.
Okay, well, it's time for the trophy, I think.
Here we go.
Mr. and Mrs. Scarborough.
Very good. The eyes of the world are on Kentucky on Derby Day, and everyone is a Kentuckian, and we're very proud to share these traditions with everyone here at Churchill Downs and the people all over the world who are watching. As Governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, I'm very proud to present you this trophy, the most prestigious prize in all of thoroughbred racing. Congratulations.
Thank you, Governor. We're delighted.
Right.
28 years ago today, your daddy won the Kentucky Derby with Tommy Lee.
Right.
You're thinking of that now?
Yes, I am. I'm almost in tears.
Congratulations to you. Let's bring in Jack Van Berg, the trainer. Jack, last October the 18th. Yes. Last October the 18th, you looked me in the eye and you said, Jim, I'm going to win the Kentucky Derby. I said, with what? You said, with Ali Sheba. Looks like you were right. Congratulations.
Thank you, Jim. I had an awful lot of confidence in him. A lot of confidence. He was a good horse from the start. We had some problems, but he come around good for us. I just want to thank everybody that's ever helped me. The Scarboroughs for giving me the chance. My mom and dad, everybody. My family, my wife, everybody.
I remember when you won the Preakness, you told me you were thinking of your dad, and I think you are now. Congratulations, Jack. We'll see you in Baltimore, right? You're on to the Preakness. Now, Chris McCarron. Let's see if we can get you on camera here. Chris, it's been a little while coming for you, but you've won the Kentucky Derby. Congratulations.
Well, I don't think it could have come too soon. An experience like this is just unbelievable. I'm ecstatic. It was a very exciting trip. I had a very rough trip, and the colt was able to survive a little stumbling performance there at the 8th pole and still overcome that. And how he won today, I just can't believe. But I'm really, really happy for Jack Van Berg. I've never ridden for a more deserving horseman to win the Kentucky Derby. He's the hardest working horseman I've ever been around, and I really am very, very happy for Jack.
You're a great team. Let's take a look at this race again. We were isolated on your horse, on Ali Sheba. We'll look at it from start to finish, and you might give us some commentary, Chris.
Well, he broke very well, and he got in a little bit of a bumper match right here, but he was able to overcome that very comfortably. I had to ease back a little bit right here as the pressure came from the outside. You can see him squeezing. My tush hit the saddle there a little bit, and I lost my balance, but he recovered very, very nicely. And going into the first turn, he had a nice, comfortable position, although there was a lot of banging around up in front of me, and I was a little concerned about the horse War on the fence because he was bouncing off the fence pretty good. And as we moved on down the backside, I was just looking at the horses up in front of me, trying to find some place to go. And
so Demons Be Gone just outside you. He looked like he was having any trouble to you, or couldn't you notice him?
Well, I gave a little peek to him right here, and he appeared to be laboring. I don't know. He just didn't seem. Pat didn't have very much hold of him, and he was steady letting him run at this point, and he just wasn't going anywhere.
Pat said he felt something funny in the clubhouse turn.
Between the two of us, there was contact between me and Demons Be Gone. As I eased out to go around one horse, my colt overreacted a little bit and just kind of went out, and we brushed a little bit, but I don't think it was really of any consequence.
No, well, Pat told us later that what happened was the horse began to bleed from the nostrils.
Oh my goodness, I wasn't aware of that. At no time during the race around the first turn did he really look like he was into the race, so that's obviously a problem. I reached back and hit him right there one time, and he picked it up very nicely. I finally decided to put him on the outside because there really was a lot of traffic in front of me, and I felt like I had some horse, and I certainly didn't want to get stopped at this point. And as you can see, he's really moving nicely now, and my concern at this point, I felt I had a ton of horse. My concern was I didn't want to hit the front too soon because of his, he's got a little bit of a play in him. He's still immature yet, and he doesn't know that he's out there for business only. He got to these horses very comfortably, and right now I don't want to go by Bet Twice too quickly, but by the same token, I want to be ready to pounce on him at any time.
Felt you had his measure at this point, huh?
I felt I had his measure right here, but when Craig asked his colt to run, Bet Twice responded very well. But as you can see right here, he ducked out in front of me, and I clipped his heels.
Boy.
Watch my colt. Look at that. That is unbelievable how he
almost went down.
I thought I was gone, and how he recovered from that and beat that colt is beyond me.
Maybe a good rider helped.
Well, I don't know. Again, he ducked out in front of me right there, and I was very concerned. And at this point, I felt that if Bet Twice had beaten me, then he probably would come down. But right here, I certainly want to beat him fair and square anyway.
A few of the more caustic critics were saying this horse is crazy. He's not going to win a big race.
Oh, he's not the least bit crazy. All he is a kid. He's only a 3-year-old, and he's probably a younger 3-year-old in his head than the other colts in the race were. But as you can see, he's got a lot of talent.
Chris, I first saw you ride at the old Bowie track in southern Maryland. The track isn't there anymore, but you sure are. Final order of finish in the 113th Kentucky Derby. Ali Sheba, Bet Twice. AV's Copy, a remarkable third. Crypto Clearance was fourth. Then Templar Hill, a surprising fifth. Gulch was sixth. And the rest of the field, Leo Castelli, Candy's Gold, Conquista Rose, On the Line, Chocolate One, Masterful Advocate, and War, Momentous, No More Flowers, and Capote, Demons Be Gone, did not finish. Up to you, Jack Whitaker now.
All right, Jim, thank you. You know, 20 minutes ago, we all said that there were half this field could be made a good case to win this Derby of 1987. It was a wide open field, generally sprinkled with the blood of native dancer and northern dancer. But now, there's only one that reigns, Ali Sheba. He's the boss, the chief executive officer of the 3-year-olds. He's the only one of his graduating class that has gone 1.25 miles. And the Derby once again proves that it is a genuine American sporting event. It always delivers what it proves. And this has been another one to remember. We'll be right back with a final word after this.
Of 5 to win, 3 for second, 1 for third. A man who is not here today for the first time in a half a century, our friend John W. Galbraith, one of the great friends of racing, we know is watching at his home in Columbus, Ohio, and will be back next year to pursue his lifelong ambition of winning the Triple Crown. What a day. Ali Sheba has won the Kentucky Derby, and we were all privileged to be here and see it.